Buff Nation, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to an impromptu live with Common Sense Buffs. Here to talk about all things Colorado Buffaloes football in the Coach Prime era. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returner, thank you. If you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are going to be talking about what I believe is shaping up to be a historic run, or at least an opportunity at a historic run by the Colorado Buffaloes. We'll center the conversation on the continuing improvement in the play of the Colorado Buffaloes football team, in the play calling by the coaches, and just the overall narrative change that's happening across college football regarding the potential of this team. We're going to be looking also at the Colorado Buffaloes victory over the Cincinnati Bearcats. We're going to look at that box score, and I'm going to use that data to be the facts undergirding our conversation this evening. So let me go ahead and get that set up, that data. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as you come into the room, please let us know where you are tuning in from. I know our community continues to grow. It's always great to know where people are tuning in from. So I have that information loaded up here. Let me go ahead and share my screen and let's get busy. All right. So hopefully you can see my screen. This Saturday in another, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning football game, the Colorado Buffaloes took on the Cincinnati Bearcats in a very important matchup in the Big 12. Coming into this game, both teams were 5-2. They were part of a four-way tie for third place in the Big 12. Colorado was just coming off of a big victory against the Arizona Wildcats. And the Cincinnati Bearcats were also coming off of, I believe, a victory. And so this was a good game, a good test. And it was another opportunity for Colorado to demonstrate that they can play well at home with all the fanfare and all the stars and put together a great, complete home win. And the Buffs did not disappoint in this game. I thought this game between Colorado and Cincinnati was a little bit better in terms of a complete game than the UCF game, which up until this game was the best game they had played, in my opinion, this season. So it demonstrates to you that the Buffs are getting better as the season wears on. Now, there were a couple of things. There's only a few things that these Colorado Buffaloes need to do to win. And when they don't do it, they tend to lose. When they do it, they tend to win. And I think they're leaning into what makes them a great team. Now, number one, Shedeur Sanders is the leader of that team. He's not just a big name quarterback. He's a guy who leads by example in terms of his work ethic. Every time you see Shedeur, he's working on his craft. He's working on his game. Whether that's on the football side or that's on the media side, he is very savvy. He, like his dad, he understands brand, he understands marketing, he understands image, and he's executing on those things while still keeping the main thing, which is being a winning quarterback in college football. And so I want to start there. And some of the things that we know early in the season, the Buffs struggled with and Shedeur struggled with, but now I feel like they're playing better football. So looking at the box score, Shedeur Sanders was 25 of 30 on completions. Now, he started the game, I think, and set a school record with 15 completions in a row. And the two reasons why I think is one, better offensive line. Well, three things: better offensive line play, protecting the quarterback when he's in a passing situation. but also a run game that keeps the defense honest. And then last but not least, Shador getting the ball out of his hands quicker and getting it um, in taking what the defense gives him instead of trying to make a big play on every down. And early in the season, this was a clear criticism, right? Even though he was playing lights out and he was having great games, without those three things, he we wouldn't see the Colorado Buffaloes where they are today, even if he was playing as well as he is, but still missing those three components. So I love to see that he's taking the coaching, he's growing with the team, he's recognizing the strengths of his team on offense, and he's exploiting what the defense gives him. So he went 25 of 30, 323 yards, and it was a quiet 323 yards. As you can see, not every pass was a bomb downfield, right? Averaging 8.10 yards per completion. He had two touchdowns. I believe both of them were to Travis Hunter in the first half of the game, and 91.2 QBR rating. So great game for Shador. I love to see that he continues to improve. All right, guys. Checking the chat real quick while I do my analysis. Feel free. You are the co-host of this show. So jump in the chat. Let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about. All right. The next thing, and I mentioned this in terms of Shador and his success in the past game, that you need a running game. And Colorado last year and early this year struggled to run the ball. And I think on many occasions as fans, when we were watching, we got to the point where we thought they did not want to run the ball in favor of the pass at all costs. Well, I think Dion has committed his team to running the ball. I think Pat Shurmur is committed to running the ball. And after a horrible rushing performance, I believe against Kansas State, right, where there were like 10 design runs, Colorado has really changed their philosophy, and the offensive line has responded, and so have these running backs. So Colorado is currently running the ball by committee. Starting running back right now is Isaiah Augusta, which is my favorite running back right now. Well, it's kind of a close between him and Michael Welsh. But right now, Isaiah Augusta is the clear go-to workhorse running back for this team. He had 22 carries. I think that's a season high carries for any one back for Colorado, 91 yards, averaging 4.1 yards with a long of 13. And he earned every one of those yards because Colorado is not a dynamic running team. He was taking the opportunities he was given and getting the most out of them. So really love his running style. He's a big running back, hard to bring down, over 200 pounds. He doesn't go down after first contact. And I have him as the first back for the Buffaloes this season that will go over 100 yards, and he's getting the carries to do it. That's going to be a big game and a big step forward for the Colorado Buffaloes. All right. Got my tea, man. I'm going to take a sip, take a little break, give you enough time to hit that like, that subscribe, and that share, and make sure you turn on those notifications. All right. So we're going to keep going. Well, you cannot talk about Colorado Buffaloes and Shador Sanders without talking about his weapons to the outside. Oh, another thing. Shador rushed for a touchdown, and Augusta rushed for a touchdown as well. 2023, you did not see that from the Colorado Buffaloes. 2024, they're doing that and they've done that in multiple games so far this season. The return of Travis Hunter. I believe this week he is both the Big 12 offensive and defensive player of the game, player of the week. Absolutely insane. He was certainly the player of this game. Travis Hunter returns after a shoulder injury that he ended up with limited action against Kansas State and limited action against Arizona. He was back in his full form. 9 catches for 153 yards, averaging 17 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns with a long of 34, including a big one right before the half. I don't know how they let Travis Hunter run open. He made the play, great body control, still got in the end zone and scored the touchdown. Jimmy Horn had a touchdown call back for celebrating, but I think sometimes with Travis Hunter, LeJontay Wester, Will Shepard, Draylon Miller, Jimmy Horn can get lost in the shuffle. I think this game they were very purposeful about getting him the ball in space. And you see how dangerous of a wide receiver and a big playmaker he is. I also like Jimmy Horn in the return game. I'm gonna give Jimmy Horn a return for a touchdown before this season is over, or maybe in dramatic fashion in like a Big 12 conference championship or a college football playoffs. I think Jimmy Horn, man, has the speed, he has the vision, and he has the want to try to take one to the house. His counterpart, of course, LaJohntay Wester, Mr. Reliable, earned the number one jersey, usually wears number 10. Prime held back from issuing the number one jersey until this point in the season. So that was LaJohntay's reward for working hard, persevering, and waiting until he earned his jersey, in Prime's words. All right, the freshman continues to impress. Draylon Miller, 2 receptions for 27 yards. And Shador really doesn't care whose name was on the back of the jersey. He's going to spread the ball around. He's going to find you. Will Shepard, there were a couple of plays there. I think he could have made a play on the ball, but there was a missed pass interference that could have been a touchdown. Yeah, but again, everybody turned in a solid game. That receiving core did what they needed to do in order to be successful. Fumbles, we only had, I think, Shador Sanders had a miscommunication with Hank Zielinskis once again, but the Buffs recovered the fumble. And Jimmy Horn, I just talked about him being such a great kick returner, made a mistake. The ball bounced. He tried to pick it up and take off with it, and he got absolutely rocked, and he fumbled. Fortunately, that fumble was recovered by the Colorado Buffaloes. All right. What else? What else do we want to talk about? Okay, so Colorado on the defensive side of the ball, I didn't think they played their best defensive game. They showed some vulnerability again in the run game. I thought they could have done a better job of containing the run. Let's see. Cincinnati had 32 carries for 171 yards. I think they need to be better than that because there were multiple chances there where they had a chance to put the game away. And due to poor open field tackling, there were a couple of runs for first down when they had the Bearcats in long situations, right? Second and long, third and long, and they let running plays or a wheel route to the running back coming out of the backfield really beat them. So I think this defense is going to go back and watch tape and really try to tighten up the tackling in the run game. And they have an off week to do it. I'm sure those guys are watching film like crazy. They're practicing because they know they have a chance to go on a historic run. So even though the bye week is here, they have 4 games. How many games do they have left? Yeah, they have 4 games to finish out what could be a historic season. So I'm sure they're not taking any days for granted, even though they have a bye week. So my favorite player right now on the team, and I didn't put him on the cover of this because he's already been on one of my other covers, is Cameron Silman Craig, number 7. All heart, right? Smart, tough, disciplined, the kind of teammate you want to have. He's going to come up and make the tackle. He knows his responsibility. He's going to do his job. And so I really, really like him out there playing safety for the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, Cam Silman had 8 total tackles, 6 solo, and a big hit towards the end of the game where the running back caught the ball coming out of the backfield and Cam laid him out. So he also had a sack. And that's another thing that I like about Rob Livingston's offense, the tendency to blitz safeties and mix up coverages and keep the opposing quarterback guessing. Also, Shiloh Sanders, again, I think Shiloh's getting a little bit into his head, and he isn't playing with the same reckless abandon that he played with in 2023, where everybody kind of fell in love with Shiloh's playing style. Now, one of the things he's always been criticized for is tackling. I think he's so mindful of making the tackle and not missing the tackle, or he's being smarter about laying the boom. It's also altering his playing style, which some players can do without too much detriment to the production. But I think if you do too much, it can impact that. And I think Shiloh might be experiencing a little bit of that, trying to change his play style on the fly in the middle of the season. But I mean, I take Shallow Sanders as my safety out there. He's seen a lot of football. He's played a lot of football, and he's a great teammate. So I love to see it. Nakai Hill Green continues to impress me every single week. There's no doubt that he's the number one linebacker in that unit, not only because he's smart, he's physical. You see him making plays on the opposite side of the ball. He's always downhill, and he's a guy that he comes up and he's going to hit you. A lot of the sounds that you hear in Colorado Buffaloes games are coming from Nakai Hill Green being relentless in run support and even rushing the passer when he needs to. Levanta Bentley, Mr. Trust the Process, continues to play well and be reliable at that linebacker spot. DJ McKinney, Mr. Reliable himself. He had a couple games early in the season where people try to go at him versus going at Travis. And Preston Hodge had the same issue early in the season, but DJ McKinney played an outstanding game. But I really want to give a huge hand to Preston Hodge. And that man was a lockdown corner all game. He was tested multiple times, and he came to play, and he played an outstanding game. Of course, Travis Hunter, in addition to 2 tackles, he had 4 pass breakups, which is why he was both the offensive and defensive player of the week in the Big 12. All right, y'all. So no interceptions for Colorado. Preston Hodge, again, like I said, he was having an outstanding game. He had an interception that got called back that was totally bogus. Jimmy Horn, always dangerous, 19 yards on kick returns. LaJonte and Jimmy shared punt return duties. LaJonte was the better returner that day. Again, Jimmy Horn had a ill-advised return that he probably should have just let roll. Colorado in the kicking game, Alejandro Mata continues to be Mr. Consistent, Mr. Automata. 2 of 2 for field goals, including the field goal late in the game to really put the game out of reach when the Bearcats were rallying. So big shout out to Alejandro Mata, man. A big turnaround from the start of the season, becoming more and more consistent. And Mark Vissett, Colorado's punter, needed to be great in that game on multiple occasions because there were some 4th downs there where Colorado just decided to be conservative like any team in the lead would and decided to punt. But they were in spots in the field where strategic punting was necessary to make the other team drive the length of the field. And Mark Vissett was excellent at placing those punts within the 20 and I think 1 or 2 within the 10. So, that's my breakdown. I think this team is poised to go on a historic run, and here's why. Number 1, Deion Sanders. I think it's in not that he never was, but I think this team is fully his in that they believe in what he's trying to do, and they're finally trusting the process. Right, everybody on the team is believing. The coaches are believing. The players are believing, and it's showing on the field. I think the entire state of Colorado, all the Buffs fans are 100% behind Deion. Even those who didn't really like him at the beginning or really didn't understand what he was trying to do, or he was overturning the apple cart a little bit too soon for them, that doubted him when the season turned upside down in 2023. I don't think he has very many doubters in Colorado, and he's starting to change the narrative across college football that the Colorado Buffaloes program is a remarkable turnaround story in the making. And the kind of person Deion is, he's not going to rest on this as success. He's really, I believe, going to get every ounce of value out of this opportunity and out of these players to make this run. Pat Shurmur, in my personal opinion, called his best game to date. I can't say the same about Rob Livingston. Either he called a great game and it just wasn't executed. I thought they let the Bearcats hang around too long. And for a team that is in game 8, they need to be able to put teams away and not have like people with heart palpitations because a team starts to come back. I think that's something that Prime said in the locker room when he was addressing the team. He was like, hey, we're the Colorado Buffaloes. We kill gnats with sledgehammers. And I think that's really the attitude component that I feel is slowly becoming part of the identity of the Colorado Buffaloes football team. they're starting to believe that not only can they play, not only can they beat other teams, but they can be dominant, which has always been the key word of Coach Prime. We don't just want to win, we want to be dominant. And in order to be dominant, you have to practice and then go out on the field and execute like a pro. So, man, listen, the sky's the limit. I had the Buffs at 8-4 on the season. That is well within reach, given the schedule and given how they're playing football right now. There are many people on other channels that I see who have the Buffs at 10-2. And that's when you start to say, hey, Kansas State with a loss here, BYU with 1 or 2 losses, Iowa State with 1 or 2 losses. You now start to talk about what your opponents are doing. We're not there yet. Although they're in the hunt, they have a lot of work to do to get to that 10-2 and win out, and then make it very, very difficult for everybody else around the league who may slip a game here or there. We will see. That's why we're watching. That's why we're highly engaged. And that's why we follow this Colorado Buffaloes football team. So to all of you out there, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. For all of you who haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button, that like button, so this information can go out to like-minded individuals. Next time I'm on live, please co-host it with me. Join me in the chat. Let me know what's on your mind. All right. Until next time, peace.